Super Speedway.
I just told him, it was kind of a chicken shit move that he did there at the end. We're racing for the freaking win at Bristol. We're 3 wide in the middle, and he throws a temper tantrum I was just trying to get the lead and racing hard. Then he pulls up in front of me and just sits there until I lose the whole lead. So, just hate it for our Subway Ford Mustang team. To be able to lose a race like that. I watched him let the 24 go by, and then anytime you run into him, it's a problem. So they can boo all they want. I don't care. God damn it. I'm ready to rip somebody's freaking head off.
Welcome to episode 211 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, I love the smile when the clip you wanted played.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I said if we didn't start with that clip, we were going to be in trouble. It would have been a very big disappointment. So, bravo. Thank you.
I had the intro ready on Sunday.
Good. I was so excited.
I pulled it right away. I wanted the booing comment too. I love that. If they can boo all they want.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, what a race. What a weekend.
What a weekend. Bristol Motor Speedway. It was the Bristol night race, James.
Woo. I tell you, I didn't think every race during the weekend would get better than its predecessor, but by God, Bristol, they've figured it out. It's back, man. It's racing like crazy right now. It's awesome.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you is, does the Bristol night race finally have its luster back? Is this finally going to be that? I mean, I don't know that it'll ever be the tough ticket again, because I don't know that we'll ever put 160,000 people in anywhere. But is it back to like what it was?
Tell you what, it's just as good of a TV product as it ever was.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That being said, we don't know what we're going to get
right.
next year. And of course, we're going to slap dirt back on it in the spring. So
everybody is calling for no dirt. Everybody is screaming for no dirt.
I know. Well, welcome. Everybody is welcome on my bandwagon. Please bring me.
I'm on the fence here because yes, it was a terrific race, and this is classic Bristol. If you think back to the old Bristol before they reconfigured it, and what we saw there, there were races that could have been considered boring in the middle, or uneventful in the middle, and this one had moments of that. But I think the stoppages came in the right place to keep this one interesting throughout.
Yeah. But
a terrific ending like that will make any race a great race, and this lived up to the hype of. I mean, this was the hype of Earnhardt turning Labonte.
It had lots of shades of it, yeah.
This fits right in there with everything else, except that, personally, I think it was... Before we get into the discussion of it, I'll just hint, I think that there were a lot of pissed off people for absolutely nothing in this race. I mean, honestly, I didn't think there was anything that bad in this race that was worth getting all upset over, or as upset as they did. But
yeah, Golden Boy got a flat tire, and when that happens to the fan favorite, the fans get all sorts of uppity,
right?
About that kind of stuff. So,
but I think that part of the reason, and don't get me wrong, I know that last year we had a great race in the spring at Bristol, but I think part of the reason, or one of the main reasons, that this was such a great race and it's such a great weekend is because of where it's at in the playoffs. It was a cutoff race for all three series. It just. And I realized that Larson and Harvick and Chase are racing. They're already locked in. They're not really worried about not making it. But still, it was the fact that it was a cutoff race. It was the fact that Harvick hasn't had the win. It was where it was in the season that made it what it was.
And the PJ1 worked at the bottom of the track again.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was
Here's the unpopular argument I'll have, James. The reason this race was so good, the reason this track was so good this weekend, was because they buried it with dirt for 3 months.
Maybe we were itching to get it back.
Well,
that's for
no,
sure.
the surface was still dirty. They didn't clean it off all the way, so it was better because of it. So we need dirt at Bristol.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Then run 2 asphalt races like Jordan Bianchi said.
Right.
Concrete there, but
yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that last 150 laps was just like wild. Like guys cutting down tires, and it was just nuts.
You know what I hate about Bristol?
What?
You're in the middle of the race and you're like, man, we're only 200 laps into this thing. There's still 300 laps left. Man, there's still 200 laps left. And then 20 to go happens, and you hit 20 to go, and you're like, holy crap, this thing's almost over. I mean, 20 to go is like 5 minutes. You're done.
Yeah, when it gets usually the like lap 80 for me is when I'm like,
yeah,
we're gonna be done here soon, and all of a sudden it's boom, boom, boom.
Everything amps up at the end.
Yeah,
no, that's another argument I have though, James. 500 laps, too long, man. Cut it down and make the sucker 300 laps. It's a lot more exciting.
Nah, leave it alone.
Nope, cut her down. Shorter race, just like everywhere else. But let's mention that Kyle Larson gets the win.
He does, yeah.
Before we go too much in depth, I mean, that's all part of the whole thing, because really you can't discuss Larson's win without discussing everything else that happened to lead to that win. But good on Kyle Larson for getting himself another win. That was, what was that? How many this season now?
He is up to, I believe that was number 6. I'm going to double check that.
They don't even have that in the post-race notes. Oh, yeah, there it is. 6th victory.
6th win.
21st top 10.
Yep. 16th top 5.
12th victory in 252 NASCAR Cup Series races.
He has led on the season 1,900 laps, 1,905 laps. By far a career record with, half the playoffs to go. Well, more than half the playoffs to go. So, he's all over it right now. Average finish 9.0. He's different stratosphere. He got that Pocono loss back, I feel like, for this one. So
yeah.
that blown tire in turn 3 at Pocono that cost him. I think the racing gods said, okay, Kyle, here you go.
It's a pretty nice gift that he got Saturday night.
Yep.
So yeah, let's talk about this. First of all, we had a lot of tire issues. A lot of tires very easily going down in this race.
Steel bodies. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's been this big of an issue in the past. But I've listened to a couple podcasts and stuff, and a lot of the talk was the fact with the low, no ride height rule and just the way everything's set up now with these cars.
Drivers were concerned about it.
Yep, just the slightest bit of contact was going to cut tires down, and that's what happened. Yep. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin. A lot of issues with tires in this one. Of course, the big one was Harvick and Chase getting together. I was going to go back and watch all the replays before this podcast, but I didn't. So I am fresh on remembering what happened Saturday night. So I may get some stuff wrong.
I've watched it a handful of times because I'm coming in with a hot take, as you know. So, lead me in.
Well, so basically Harvick and Chase get together. Harvick's got loose, slipped up into Chase, cut down the tire. Believe it was probably exhaust that hit the tire. Cut down Chase's left front, left front was what it was.
Left side. Yep.
And Chase comes down, pits, comes back out on the track, and conveniently comes out on the track very close to Harvick, about 3 cars back from Harvick. Races up, gets by him, and then proceeds to drop anchor and make things pretty difficult for Mr. Harvick.
Tries to cut down his tire.
Yes, he did. Well. He did take a swipe at him on the straightaway.
Yep.
And then moves on by, and then decided to just take it easy and cruise around wherever Kevin Harvick might want to run. Slowed Harvick down. Harvick then gets roughed up by Larson, who I think Harvick should have been more pissed with, honestly. And Larson gets by and gets the win.
Oh, and don't forget, Harvick roughed him up pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty. I mean, he went for the hook.
Yeah.
If I don't know if he was trying to put him straight into the fence.
Right.
But I think one of the parts we should go back to, Eric, is the battle before the contact between Chase and Kevin was lengthy because Kevin was faster, but he didn't have the line. And battle. He'd get up to him. And finally, Kevin timed it perfectly and he had the pick off of, I believe it was the 51 of J.J. Yaley. One of those Rick Ware machines was out there, and Harvick used it as a pick. And Chase I don't blame Chase at all for forcing the issue. Chase didn't want to give up the position, raced Kevin down, and Kevin slid up, like you said, and it was on from there. So, it was, boy, there's a lot going on.
All right, let's start. Who was in the wrong?
I say it's Chase's fault that the whole thing was Chase's fault that started it. Okay. In my opinion, Kevin set him up clean, got the pick. Now I don't blame Chase for racing hard to not give up that position. He's not wrong there, but the contact was his fault for not backing off. And honestly, Eric, I wouldn't back off either, but
Right.
it's Chase's fault. Chase's fault the tire got cut down,
Okay.
in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with an unpopular opinion here, and it's going to sound like a cop-out, but it's not. Nobody's.
This is right. Yeah, it's a racing deal.
It's freaking Bristol, man. I mean, the tire went down so easily that, first of all, Harvick had no intention of cutting his tire down, none whatsoever.
No, it's just hard racing. Yeah, hard racing.
Now the reason that Chase is pissed is because Chase says this has happened before, and from what I understand, if you go back to Darlington, something very similar occurred there, and Chase had that in the memory bank, along with 10 other times, apparently, according to Chase.
Yeah.
Probably similar to Denny Hamlin's wins in his career. So Chase had some pent up anger as a result of that.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, Harvick's pissed because Harvick wants to win, man. And he's badly wants to win. He's very frustrated this season because he can't get there. Finally had a car that was really, I mean, he was the guy. He was kind of the class of the field for the most part.
Yeah, and I left him on my bench because I didn't get back to my fantasy team, and I was kicking myself for that one. So that was nice.
Certainly, best chance that Harvick's had to win a race all season, and got it taken away from him. So so Chase is wrong for cutting the tire down. Is Chase wrong for racing the way he did after he came back on the track?
Well, Chase cost himself, or I guess, put his championship at more of a detriment.
You stole.
Yeah.
You listen,
sorry, dude.
You listened to NASCAR NBC podcast, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. Jeff Burton kind of cheated up.
Jeff Burton, you stole my my Jackass Corner, because that was my Jackass Corner was going to be Chase Elliott, because
gotta let Harvick win that race.
He gave 5 points, 5 bonus points, 5 points that are going to go the rest of the playoffs to his chief competitor, who's the most likely driver to win the championship right now. That's Kyle Larson. He just gave him the win.
Exactly. Well, and if Chase is confident that he's going to make it to Phoenix, it doesn't really matter. But
true.
Why give Larson a 5-point cushion when you don't have to? I love that.
Brett Griffin called this week for Chase to fall out. He called Chase won't make it out of this round.
Maybe
that was his pick for not making it out of this round.
Boy, I don't know. I think he'll be fine at Vegas.
Probably.
Yeah, Talladega's Talladega, and then we go to the Roval. So
yeah,
those are kind of 2 wild cards. So yeah, that could be it. But yeah, no, Jeff made a great point, and I was gonna say I was gonna credit him, but didn't want to take it off for myself. But yeah, I mean, boy, I just have so many, like, Chase is to blame for most of this, and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with all of it. I mean, it's his own decision to do what he does out there, you know.
I mean, I'm in the same boat as I was earlier in the season when Ross Chastain did this to get Kurt Busch the win. Of course, that was a little bit different situation. I still don't like it when a lapped car influences the finish of the race. That being said, Chase was only a lapped car because of an incident he had with the guy that was leading.
Racing past a lap car.
Yeah, and thus Chase is more justified, I think, in what he did than Chastain was, because Chastain wasn't a part of the battle to begin with, and Chase was originally. So Chase felt like he was getting vindication.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's Bristol, man.
I'm gonna say what I said back in Bristol spring 2020 when Chase drove over his head and wrecked him and Joey Logano. Reverse the roles here. And if Harvick was doing this to Chase Elliott, how mad would the fans have been?
Definitely.
You know, exactly. I mean, it's all with NASCAR drivers. It's all perception. And Chase, man, I don't know. Here's my problem with Chase. Like, how does he goes to the public and to the media, and he plays the poor me card.
Yeah.
Yet he wants to also play the I'm an established champion veteran card as well. I just, what are you at this point?
Yeah.
You know, I see him as a champion and not the elder statesman, but he's next man up for this series.
He's a veteran at this point. He's 6 years into his career.
He's not a rookie. He's not William Byron.
No.
You know, he's established. I mean, he's a champion. He's
exactly.
on Harvick's.
He's won a championship. No matter how young he was when he won the championship, he's won a championship. That makes him a veteran in the sport.
Exactly. He's on Kevin Harvick's level. I mean,
and again, just you guys, if you want to hear half of this podcast, just go listen to NASCAR and NBC podcast because I just listened to it on the way here today, so I'm sure that both James and I are gonna have a lot of takes from it. But Jeff Burton and Nate Ryan both pointed out, you know, that Chase gets out. And he talks about how he's not going to be pushed around. And it's like, dude, you're the champion. Why are you talking like the rookie right now? Yeah. Like who's pushing you around? Like nobody's pushing you around. That's not
what happened here.
Yeah. And it was weird. And you know, they didn't call him out as playing the victim, but as you say it, I agree with you. I think you're right. He's playing the victim there. He's going for the fan sympathy.
Yep.
And just,
he knows he's not dumb.
But I will give him credit. He got out of his car with his helmet off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Unlike Mr. Harvick.
Oh, that's a classic Kevin Harvick
keeps
move,
the helmet on.
Kevin doesn't take the helmet off.
And takes his freaking entourage with him all the way around the track, for God's sakes. How many team members does Harvick need with him when he goes to fight a fight?
I don't know.
Harvick's not a small, weak guy. Why has he got a crew with him? Just take it on yourself, buddy.
I know. I was really hoping they'd get after it, but you know, they just they yelled and screamed, and then they went back and they had a cool-headed conversation, and then Jordan Bianchi forced him into a trailer. And so it's like, I think this is probably not buried, but I don't think we're going to see anything.
Oh, you think it's over?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not over. This is only over if Harvick if Harvick has any struggles, he's going to take a shot at Chase.
Harvick's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he still is a pain in the butt, and he's going to be a pain in the butt for Chase. Like, pick your enemies, man.
Dude, I remember when him and Kyle Busch were feuding, and they raced the season finale at Homestead, and they came off of turn 4, and Harvick just drove right through Busch and just put him in the wall. Wrecked him on the front stretch. Like, it was nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Harvick's changed a little bit, but he's still Kevin Harvick.
Was that the same season when Kyle just completely hooked him at Darlington?
I think so.
They had their little pit road spat.
Maybe it could have been. I can't remember now.
Oh God, yeah, they did have a good little beef going. Harvick's fought with everybody, man.
Yes.
Juan Pablo and
yes,
jeez, Biffle. Him and Biffle had a good one.
Him and Biffle were good. He had it out with Ricky Rudd, man.
Remember, he pushed Brad Keselowski into the Jeff Gordon kerfuffle.
Yeah, he jumped on Ricky Rudd's hood at Richmond.
He did. You know, Eric, I thought about you when Kevin was getting after it there a little bit, and I thought, ooh, Eric's gonna love seeing old Harvick back.
Yes,
I was like, yes, good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. And you know, I'll save my last part. I gotta have a new Jackass corner. I'll save that for the end.
That's fine. That's fine.
But since you stole mine. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Let's put it this way. Anybody who's complaining about this.
No, I love every second of it.
This is exactly what we wanted at Bristol. And I'll tell you what, it was really the best case scenario, James. And they mentioned this on NASCAR NBC because we got everything we wanted without an unnecessary fight. Nobody threw a punch. Crew members sort of got involved, but didn't get involved, you know.
Yep.
It was a clean discussion, heated discussion. And everybody left in good shape as a result.
Yeah, man, I love it, and hopefully you and I put it in context a little bit from where we stand. But seriously, like, I don't blame Chase Elliott for anything.
Both of them were justified in being mad. I think they both overreacted a bit.
I loved it, man. I loved it.
I think it was some overreaction, but again, I mean, part of it comes down to if you're Chase Elliott, and I'll take his side a little bit here for a second. If you feel like this is something that's been ongoing for weeks, then it's time to take it into your hands and do something about it. That's
what short track racing is all about.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I expect anything to come out of it this weekend? No, I don't. I don't think we'll see anything in this round. Because, you know, you're going to a mile and a half this weekend. There's no way. You can't do something at Talladega. And the Roval, I mean, I guess you could maybe pull something at the Roval. But I don't personally think that Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott will be anywhere near each other in that race because Chase will be out front and
Kevin's in trouble. Kevin's in trouble now.
Now, Chase, I would be nervous if he advances to the next round and Harvick doesn't. That's when I'd start getting nervous.
Then you get the Matt. You're in Matt Kenseth territory.
But I mean, the thing is with. Well, I don't think Harvick would be as blatant as Matt Kenseth either.
Yeah.
I think he'd just make it difficult on Chase. Harvick would do a Chase Elliott to Denny Hamlin at Richmond type of thing where he swipes him and cuts a tire down.
Yep.
But doesn't blatantly wreck him.
You know, we should also mention with Kevin Harvick too. He's the guy who last year dumped Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
In desperation, and
yeah, exactly.
The Talladega incident, which
I swear you're in my head, man. This is the same stuff. I was literally just gonna make this point.
Good.
Yeah.
That's all right, Eric. We've been doing this too long, man. We know it. We know what each other's gonna say.
If you feel bad for Harvick.
I don't feel bad for Kevin Harvick.
If you feel like Harvick got screwed, Harvick has done his share of screwing in his day.
He's been as nefarious as anyone. I mean, he's had his own arm incident at Talladega. That thing he did at Talladega was as bad as it gets without getting in trouble. Somehow he didn't get in trouble.
He should have been penalized for that. I think what he did to Kyle Busch was one of the worst things he's done in his career.
Yeah, and
it didn't hurt Kyle, but it was a blatant just take out somebody who's just a victim of where he's at on the track.
Yeah, and I still give Kevin Harvick 49% of the blame there, and NASCAR 51 because of the way they got this system set up.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what NASCAR wants out of these guys. Like, still, but
yeah.
I mean,
it is.
That was dirty.
Well, it is because they didn't penalize him for it.
Oh, it was dirty as hell.
Yeah,
it was dirty as hell.
That was the dirtiest Harvick move I think ever, right there.
That and Talladega are both right up.
Talladega's pretty dirty, but at least, he took innocent victims there too. So I guess.
Well, listen, man. Every great driver's got dirty moments.
Yeah.
Kevin's are.
Yeah, I'm not picking on Kevin.
No, but he's wrong. And when he's wrong, he's wrong. Yeah. Like Dale Earnhardt, he hooked the 5 a couple of times at Bristol.
Yeah,
and
they were best friends.
Yeah, so I mean, geez, man, it's what it is. That's what this short track racing will do to you. But
yeah.
I don't feel bad for either of these guys, man. Duke it out for all I care. I want more of it.
I think that what it comes down to is my opinion on this is that they were both wrong. They were both right. They both had a right to be mad.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, it's just, this is what you get at short track racing.
And I think it's a shame that both of them aren't legit championship contenders because I don't think Kevin Harvick's making it out of this round, but we'll see.
Well, here, this is what that was, James, right here.
Short track racing.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Denny Hamlin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Denny. And Joey Logano.
Hopefully we get more of this at Martinsville. That's all I can say.
Yeah, hopefully we get more of it as the pressure ramps up here with the next couple of weeks. I'm all for the pressure getting to these guys a little bit. That's what this is all about,
said that when we started this, when we talked about Darlington, that I feel like the pressure is here this year, just like it was that first season we did this when they all had the big brawl at Charlotte.
Yep.
I feel like there is extra pressure this year because as much as Larson is a favorite, there is not a clear favorite this year.
Yeah. Well, and there's one guy who doesn't feel pressure at all. It's Kyle Larson.
Right. Exactly.
He's just cool. He's just a cool customer.
Yeah. And somehow managed to completely avoid any controversy in this finish whatsoever, despite the fact that he roughed Harvick up to get the win. Nobody cares. Everybody loves Larson. So
yeah. Well, that's gonna turn on.
Yeah, it will. It will.
He keeps winning like he is. But.
So is Harvick the villain again now? Because he was the favorite for a while, but
yeah, he's the villain. No, he's. Yeah,
I hope so too. We need villains.
Chase Elliott fans are gonna drive that conversation.
Yeah.
The Earnhardt Jr. fans. Yeah. They're out there.
I'm wasting my breath with this question because everybody knows the way it's going to go if you listen to this podcast. But let's go back to dirt. Is there an argument to be made to, let's say, forget the dirt. Let's not put dirt down here. Let's run concrete both times. Is there an argument here?
That's all I'm asking for is to go to a real dirt track. Just go to a real place. I don't care where it is. Just go to a real dirt track and leave my Bristol alone. That's all I ask.
I don't disagree. I mean, I love what they tried with it, but I'm still in the same boat of if we're gonna run dirt, let's run a purpose-built dirt track, and leave the dirt off of Bristol.
We've seen it, and I'm good. I'm good with what we saw.
They made a good point on Door Bumper Clear though that Bristol used to run all these short track races throughout the year, and series stopped going there because it's too fast and too dangerous and people were wrecking and getting hurt, and so they put dirt down on it and we got to run a bunch of special events as a result. Mm-hmm. And because of that is why you're going to continue to see the dirt race at Bristol, because it's not just the cup race, which they get extra exposure for, but they get the World of Outlaws, they get the short track drivers and all this stuff that runs there during those couple months.
Mm-hmm. And there's a television partner that is heavily invested in.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like they are with the other Coliseum that we're going to race at. that same television partner
Yeah.
that will go unnamed.
So there's a lot of discussion this week. Since you mentioned Coliseum, we'll bring this up because we discussed it in our off podcast discussion. There's a lot of people concerned that Bristol is no longer the last great Coliseum because
people being who?
Yeah, I don't know. I heard it mentioned by several people because there's now a Coliseum on the schedule. But my argument is that Coliseum at Bristol is spelt like Coliseum as the Roman Coliseum, whereas the Coliseum in LA is Coliseum as an outdoor stadium, and it's spelled differently. So therefore, Bristol is comparing itself to the Roman Coliseum, and thus is still the last great Coliseum.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go.
That hurts my brain.
If you guys could have seen James's face as I was saying that, he was so disgusted that I was giving this English lesson during our NASCAR podcast.
Thank you, Eric.
He was so disgusted.
Appreciate
For a
it.
moment, I felt like Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi on their podcast because I felt the disgust through the screen.
Oh, yeah. Jeff was trying so hard to make Jordan part of the story, and Jordan wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So we lose 4 with this race. Surprisingly, there were drivers eliminated, even though nobody talked about it because of the finish. But it was a big discussion because one of those drivers is Kurt Busch, which really surprised a lot of people. He just struggled all freaking day, man. They just couldn't do anything, and that killed me as he was my pick this week. But fortunately, Kyle Busch had trouble right at the end too, and helped me out a little bit.
I'm done picking Kyle Busch in anything.
Right?
Every time I do, I'm done.
Well, that's been Kyle Busch's season this year for the most part.
Jeez. Yeah.
Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, and Michael McDowell also eliminated in this one. Kurt's the surprise, right?
We gotta, yes, he's the surprise because that team's had pace. They've had speed in those cars.
And I'll note too that Chastain wasn't good in this race either. He did finish 14th, but he wasn't good.
He battled through attrition. I don't know what their deal was. But we gotta shout out William Byron. I mean, what a drive that guy had.
He was out for most of the race, wasn't he?
He came into the race 18 out and just chipped away at it. And Kyle Busch, I mean,
I was devastated when he cut down that tire because I thought for sure he was out.
I thought, man, he's gonna blow it. He's really gonna blow it. And
I'm watching him in the pits and watching it tick down, and I forget which podcast it was. It might have been Jeff Gluck's and Jordan Bianchi's, to point out how much presence of mind that he had to have to hit the right pit road. Chase Elliott too, hit the right pit road and not screw up, not cost yourself more time to only lose what he lost.
Yeah, a good stop by that team to only lose 2 and got back out and got one of them back.
I don't know if anybody's ever played any of the simulation games or whatever, but
that's hard.
You forget where you are on that track, and to go, well, I'm on the front stretch or the back stretch to pit. It's 15 seconds to get around that place. He was one corner away from maybe being out of the playoffs. Yep.
Altogether. Because Suarez, Buescher, and McDowell all could have got back by. So he was right on the cut line.
Yep.
So just survival for Kyle Busch. But my takeaway was Almirola. It was a nice story for a while.
Yeah.
They didn't have it. And
I thought it was incredible that they were able to change that oil line. Yeah. Just to actually come back and look like for a while they were going to make it.
Yep.
That was a pretty impressive run for those guys.
And Reddick charged late too, but I mean, I think Byron in a different circumstance could have maybe challenged even for the win or went a little bit harder for the win there, but I think they were just happy to be in third.
Yeah.
The way things were playing out, scored points. It was just, man, that was my guy to make it into the Final Four. And you look at the points now, Eric, and he's, he's above the cut line.
Yeah.
Going into the start of the next round we have here. But man, Hendrick Motorsports dodged a couple of bullets there because Bowman got back in too.
You mentioned Kyle Busch barely making it in. He's 5th now.
Yep. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's your cushion. That's your reward for doing things in the regular season.
Yeah.
So he's and that's the problem with Kevin Harvick now, where that would have been 5 more bonus points for him. Now he's coming in, and dead last here in 12th. Yep. So, yep.
Yeah. Let's see what else is worth mentioning in this race. I mean, for the most part, people kind of finished where you expected. Chase Elliott winds up 25th, by the way. Kurt Kurt Busch, we mentioned 19th for him. Bubba Wallace had a decent day, ran well all day, finished 16th.
Eric Jones,
not surprising.
Eric Jones, top 10.
Yeah, top 10 for Eric Jones is incredible. Eric Jones is now on the inside of the top 25 points. I was listening to Sirius; they were talking about that. The fact that there's a big money line right there when it comes to bonuses and stuff for next year to be in that top 25. So because he's there, that helps. So if he can continue that on, that would be good for him.
Yep.
Let's see. Brad Keselowski, a quiet 6th place finish in this one. Ryan Blaney finished 4th. Blaney's been good here historically, and you mentioned William Byron with 3rd, and of course we know the top 2. So, the race worth noting that is unscientific as Jeff Gluck's Was It a Good Race poll is set a record for the Was It a Good Race poll, which I believe was 45.6 or something, or not 95.6.
Yeah, 90. Yeah, the new record's 95 point something. But yeah, yep. And the top 3, all Bristols.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes. So there you go. Yeah, looking at the points, Kyle Larson is your top guy at the moment. Kevin Harvick's in the back. The guys out. Looking in are Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, and Kevin Harvick right now.
Yep. And Kyle Larson's basically a full race, almost a full race ahead. So he's got a big time cushion. That's nice when you've got Talladega looming.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to Vegas, have a solid day, and he's pretty much good as gold. So.
Yep.
But yeah, there's some guys here like Brad's battling back in. Brad and Joey, I don't know if they're gonna make it.
The problem is that you have those Fords in the back half, and we're going a mile and a half track. 4
of each manufacturer, so we've got all the Gibbs contingent, the Penske contingent, and then 1 Stewart Haas, and then you've got Hendrick Motorsports. So
I mean, you pretty much got who you'd expect to have, right?
Well, Eric, I think we know now we've got a 2-team race. It's Hendrick versus Gibbs, and which driver's going to Phoenix. I don't think no shots at Ryan Blaney. He's had a nice season, but they're not at the same level as the other guys at this point.
Yeah,
Hendrick's top 2 are.
We'll see though. I mean, we're going to Talladega.
Yep.
Where the Fords excel, and so does Blaney. So.
Yep. Yeah, the Fords can get through. If the Fords can get through Talladega, they're definitely in good shape. They're going to definitely bring speed. I mean, we know that. That's a great point, Eric. That's true.
So we shall see. There's a lot that can still happen. So hopefully it stays as tight and stressful for these drivers as it has so far, because that's what gives us the excitement. So
yeah, the cut line definitely is tight, which is good.
Yeah. All right. Anything else with the Saturday night Bristol race to discuss?
It's going to wait a whole nother year till we go back.
I know. Yeah, we really literally do. That sucks.
Yep.
That does suck. Mm-hmm. However, we had 2 other spectacular races at Bristol. The first one was Thursday night after the ARCA race. We had the Truck Series, the UNOH 200 presented by Ohio Logistics. And I think this was our foreshadowing for what to expect throughout the weekend. As Chandler Smith gets the start on the inside on the green-white checker, takes the lane that hasn't worked for anybody, and pretty much uses Sheldon Creed as his outside berm to pass with some help from John Hunter Nemechek, of course, to advance, to get the win and advance in the playoffs for the Truck Series. What do we think? What are we thinking about this finish?
Well, Chandler Smith's been like the next coming for a while. So to get that breakthrough win's a big deal. But he did definitely have some help.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of discussion about this. The guys on DBC did not believe that was intentional by John Hunter Nemechek. And I will say again, I did not rewatch this, so I can't go back and look at it in hindsight and see. But I do remember that Nemechek got pretty sideways coming off the turn after he took the lead. And I don't know if you would fake that necessarily. So maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But either way, I don't want to take this win away from Chandler Smith. He's a talented young driver. This is great experience for him. I don't expect him to win the championship at all. But
right. The argument that the DBC guys made is that this was 5 bonus points to the winner, and that John Hunter Nemechek can't afford to give up 5 bonus points to allow his teammate to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, points are valuable. It's a fact. And yeah, but still, it's nice to have your teammate make the next round, I guess, too.
Yeah.
So, and then Chandler needed to win. He was a win or go home situation. So,
Yep.
yeah, he's looking pretty sharp right now.
If you were gonna get your first win in the Truck Series, any better way to do it than that?
Yeah, I mean, get it at Bristol.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sheldon Creed, for the record, ends up finishing 19th on the day as a result of this. Heck of a finish. So John Hunter Nemechek, did he do anything wrong or just?
I don't know, man. I don't even know what to think anymore. It's when you got teammates around you, you race them different no matter what.
Did anybody really think that Chandler Smith was going to lose that race when John Hunter Nemechek got ahead of him? I sure didn't.
I thought John.
I was wondering how obvious Nemechek was going to make it.
Yeah, I thought John Hunter had it wrapped up, but
yeah,
that didn't happen. So
I don't know. Supposedly they were mad at each other. John Hunter made a comment after the race that he owed him a big thank you gift, and people took that as John Hunter saying he pulled over. But the argument on DBC was that John Hunter said that because he could have wrecked him, and he didn't. So
yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. It was a heck of a finish and a good start to the weekend at Bristol. That's for sure.
Yeah. And KFB's happy about it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. KFB.
There you go. Any chance to hit that button? And then, Friday night we got the NASCAR Xfinity Series and possibly the race of the year.
What a finish this was! What a barn burner.
So the truck race was a wreck fest. We had the exciting finish, but probably not the greatest race ever. But that Xfinity race was pretty much great all the way through it, in my opinion.
Man.
And then AJ Allmendinger gets the win sideways across the line with Austin Cindric. Rex going into the turn, takes out 2 colleague cars in the process.
He came from third to first on the last lap as well because Allgaier was up there duking it out with him too. Like he was
Allgaier is the reason that AJ Allmendinger won this race, man.
Yes, yeah.
He's very much the reason. If Cindric was mad at anybody, he needs to be mad at Allmendinger or Allgaier because Allgaier just used him up.
Oh yeah, he did.
But man, what a finish. First time we've seen somebody win a race and go to the care center before victory lane.
Cars getting pile driven into. He led 1 lap on the day.
Yeah.
That cost colleague racing $200,000 to win that race.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I think my favorite part about this, Eric, was AJ Allmendinger walking up that long ramp to victory lane, and everybody's like cheering him. And he's just shrugging his shoulders, like, "Yeah, that happened. I won. So what?"
Eric, this is a big important race because this finish. It comes down to it was the regular season championship. We're talking a 15-point swing as a result of this. And AJ gets the regular season championship, and I would argue
and the race points as well.
5
race points.
I would argue that this is, it's a 3-way battle for the championship, right? You got Allmendinger and Cindric and Allgaier at this point. Maybe Gregson, maybe.
I'd throw Justin Haley in there.
I don't think Haley's got enough to be consistent enough to get.
I think he's gonna. I just think he's gonna hang around with Talladega looming too.
That's true.
He's gonna hang around. I don't take Harrison Burton as a contender. Matt Snyder, he's not a contender. Jeremy Clements isn't.
I think not only is Myatt Snyder not a contender, I think Myatt Snyder's out of this ride after this year.
Yeah, I think we hit on that. Riley Herbst,
another guy who I don't think has a ride next year.
Yeah, I think. Maybe it's a 4-guy. Well, we forgot Noah Gragson. I
said Noah Gragson, but I don't know. Gragson hasn't been. He's excelling at the right time, but he hasn't been great he hasn't been good this year.
Yeah.
Period. So I don't know. I don't think Gregson's really a favorite at this point. I think it's those 3, and I think arguably it's those 2. It's Allmendinger and Cindric that are really our guys that we're looking at this year for the championship.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. And they've separated themselves. I mean, they're both way the heck up there in the point standings too. So
yeah.
Man, it was big. That was big for Allmendinger to win that regular season title.
Yeah.
It came down to 1 lap at Bristol. Incredible.
Yeah,
the fastest lap in the entire series, and that's how we finished our regular season. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, and you said that we built up all weekend with the best, better each night. I would disagree with that because I think this was the race of the weekend.
It was, this was the finish and everything was just incredible. Yeah,
absolutely. that NASCAR photo from the flag stand as they come across the finish line with both of them sideways is just incredible.
Yeah, it's so good.
Absolutely awesome. So
There's guys that just wanted the trophy. Like that's what racing's all about. They didn't care about anything else. They wanted that trophy.
right.
And I love that about what happened on Friday night.
One thing lost in the shuffle too. This is another oval win for AJ Allmendinger, the road course
Dude,
ringer.
He's not. He ain't fooling around this year, man. AJ's coming for everybody's stuff.
9 wins, 9th win in 53 NASCAR Xfinity Series races for AJ Allmendinger.
Pretty cool. Shout out Ty Gibbs, who is now 13th in points. With his great performance again. Yeah. So he'll be the first guy out of the playoffs.
Just incredible.
He has 18 playoff points, which would have put him third.
That's just insane. I also want to give a shout out to Sam Mayer, who was the highest finishing rookie in this one with a 9th place finish after a terrible Thursday in which he crashed in the Xfinity or in the ARCA race and the Truck Series race. Problems in both of those. So good on him to come back and get a good finish in this one. So.
Yep, absolutely.
He was very frustrated Thursday night. Very frustrated.
Yeah.
So he's a defending Truck Series winner here at Bristol, and so really frustrated by not being able to even run for it really on Thursday.
Yeah. Nope, that was boy, Eric, I tell you, that was a lot of fun, man. It was just I was checking in on it, but
I think this one was a great race all the way through. I absolutely love this race and could not wait for Saturday night after this race, but was so apprehensive because I thought there was no way that Saturday night could compare. And it did. It compared. It didn't beat it, but it compared. And that's all we can ask for.
Definitely did.
So
Eric,
go ahead.
I just wanted to go back to the truck race really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick. Doug Kobe made his debut. And we remember him from the SRX series, 12th place. So
nice.
I wanted to shout that out. I had forgotten, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that.
It's a good one.
Yep.
So looking back at these 3 races, James, was this overall the greatest NASCAR weekend in history?
It's the best one of the year.
I think this was the best overall weekend that I, as a race fan, since I've been paying attention to all 3 series, this is definitely the best 3 races put together that I've ever seen.
Boy, it's
we've seen great races, but have we seen all 3 series put on this good of a show in one weekend?
It's tough to say that we haven't. I don't think we have. I think
that Xfinity race goes down in the top 10 best Xfinity races ever.
Oh, it was
easily.
And that Cup race was legit, really, really good.
That Cup race is in the top 10 Bristol races.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so I'll agree with you. Begrudgingly, I'll agree with you.
We've had terrific races in all 3 of these series, but I don't think we've ever seen them in one weekend like this.
Yeah,
I will say that the year that Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch came to the line at Darlington, we had the Xfinity race that got rained out to Monday, and that was a photo finish wrecking at the line as well. I believe Jamie McMurray won that one. So that was a good weekend of racing too. We didn't have the Truck Series at that time, at least in that racing in that weekend. We've had other times when it's been close, but this was pretty incredible. Anybody, let's put it this way. Anybody who, I will go so far as to say that the Xfinity series right now is the best it has ever been.
It's pretty good this year.
It is the most competitive. It is the raciest. I don't remember the Xfinity series, even when it was the Busch series. I don't remember it ever being this good consistently. It is good almost every weekend.
So we're good with the Cup guys not being able to race as much?
I don't think that has much to do with it.
I'm leading you down a road.
Maybe. I mean, maybe I'll take that. I didn't think about that, but maybe that's why, James. Maybe that's why it's so good. Because we're actually learning these personalities.
And we got colleague racing entering this whole thing that they're going after, and JR Motorsports has got their stable. I mean, it's good. It's good. We don't have the traditional powers outside of Penske. Obviously JR and Hendrick are, simpatico, but but still, I mean, we've got different names, like you said, we're highlighting. I mean, Noah Gregson's getting some shine because he's getting a chance to shine. So I think there's something to it.
Yeah, you might have a point. I mean, I'll give you that. I'll bow down and say, maybe you're right. Maybe that's why it's so good, is because we don't have those Cup drivers.
Possibly.
I don't know. Hard to say. I don't know. Whatever it is. I love it.
We like it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. I mean, I guess if you put KFB in this race, it's not exciting because he's going to dominate it.
Well, KFB's gotten multiple Bristol sweeps.
Yeah.
Of all three races. So
That's true.
There might be something to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't even think
Yep.
about that, but you're right. I'll give it
Yes.
to you. Give it to you,
Yes.
James. You win.
I got one. Yes.
You win.
Sweet.
Anything else with Bristol? I hate to leave it behind, man, because it was so good.
Me too. Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, we gotta leave her behind. We'll see you next year, Bristol.
Yeah. Not much in the news this week. Pretty quiet, especially coming off of the Bristol weekend.
Yeah, last week was crazy.
Yeah. One thing pops up. There's been a lot of discussion about what the next TV package will look like for NASCAR. 2025, we've determined, is when the new TV package will happen. A lot of talk about pay-per-view races, or not really pay-per-view races, but having to have streaming to watch some races. This article, which I have to click on because I didn't keep it up and remember who was it that said it. The Senior Vice President of Media and Productions, Brian Herbst, revealed that there will be some streaming content with a new rights deal, but basically said that people shouldn't worry too much about it because the Cup Series especially is all about TV ratings and they can't afford to. The gist of it is they can't afford to put it on streaming and not have those viewers. It's not going to work for their advertisers. They're going to have to be on TV. And you know, NBC podcast talked about this. The NASCAR NBC podcast talked about it a little bit too. Dover Clear talked about it a little bit. This is part of the reason that we don't have the weekday races that we wanted to see, that we saw last year, and we all said, yes, let's do it. They didn't have good TV ratings, so NASCAR nixed them. You'll notice in the 2022 schedule that there are an abundance of Sunday races and not as many Saturday races, and that's because that's when the audiences are tuning in. You notice we are going to run on Easter Sunday in the evening. That is an attempt to try and get some captured eyeballs that we don't have. The ratings are what's gonna fuel this, and if the ratings aren't there on streaming, then they're not gonna put it on streaming. So you guys don't have too much to worry about.
Yep, I am very pro streaming. So whatever NASCAR, I mean, I would pay a subscription if NASCAR.
If they put it on Peacock, if Fox has it, I don't know if Fox has a subscription like Peacock, but
no, they don't.
If they gave me something that I could buy the Fox subscription and I could buy Peacock and get all my NASCAR races, and not have to, especially if I can time shift, because that's important to me. Peacock, I know I can. I'm good. That's all I need. I don't care. I'll pay it, especially if it's cheaper than YouTube TV.
Yeah, the younger generation wants to stream, and NASCAR is trying to sway younger. So whatever the streaming component is, I'm good with it.
Well, we were just talking. I was having a conversation with our buddy Todd today about video games, and you know, he's got a PS5, and I can't justify necessarily purchasing one because I'd rather sit on my couch and play my Nintendo Switch that's underpowered, but I can take it anywhere. And it's the same thing with TV. The only time I turn my TV on anymore is to watch the NASCAR race. That's it. Otherwise, I watch every show on my iPad, everything on my iPad.
Yep.
I'm currently watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus, and it's on my iPad. I haven't watched a single episode on the TV. So all those shows get binge watched on there. But
heck yeah.
And none of them are on TV. I haven't watched a network television show in a year, 2 years. I tried watching Big Brother this year, and I watched one episode, and that was it.
Yep. There's no need for it.
Nope.
We don't need it.
So
it's all crap anyway.
Yeah. So either way, wherever the audience is at, that's where NASCAR is going to take their racing. They're not going to do something too stupid in that deal. So I think you guys can all just calm down. If it's 2025, most people are going to be shifted over to streaming anyway. The TV networks might not even exist by then.
Yep.
So anyway, the only other real news this week is Rodney Childress has signed an extension with Stewart Haas Racing. Several-year extension. Of course, the terms are not revealed, but Childress will remain with Childers will remain with Harvick for the time being. So
yes, he will.
There you go. Yep. That's the news, James.
That's the news. That's it.
Unless I missed something that popped up on Twitter while we were doing this podcast.
No, the only thing I'm checking out on Twitter is the NASCAR account posted all three finishes at the same time. And it's pretty cool. I'll retweet it so everybody can see it.
Nice. That is one other piece of news. Since it's such a slow news week, one big item is that if you're buying a lot of red stuff for your NASCAR Xfinity Series collection, it will be blue next year. They announced
purple.
Purple. Yes, they announced that the logo has changed to purple for next year because Xfinity is rebranding with a purple color.
Sure.
Why not? Right?
Why not?
Yeah. So, yeah. And then there were rumors floating around by, I would call, not very reliable NASCAR rumor location that we might see the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series at Portland next year. But we'll see about that.
Yeah, it was on Jalopnik.
I don't know that Jalopnik has ever broken NASCAR news, have they?
Well, when Atlantis King was there, they were actually pretty solid. They haven't been solid in a while. That's all I'll say.
I know I haven't linked to many of their articles on our show notes. So.
No, it's been a long time.
So we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I think that's an area that the country that NASCAR is going to want to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty.
And if you're going to go to the Northwest, there's really nowhere else to go.
Arca's up there running, so yeah, there's maybe something to it. We'll see.
Unless you do another stadium course. I mean, that's about the only way you can do it. So.
Yep.
All right. This weekend we go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. All three series are in action. And we get to make some picks. James, you beat me on picks this week. 101 to 85. Largely just fueled by... you chipped away on all of them. Really, you didn't have a breakout win on any of them, but you beat me pretty decently on all three. So
damn Kyle Busch.
The closest one was a truck race. Which Carson Hocevar was 36 to John Hunter Nemechek's 39.
Kyle Busch 21 to Kurt Busch's 18.
Yeah. So
thanks, Noah Gragson, for giving me a little bit of cushion, though.
Right,
golly, man.
Yeah,
just rough.
Figures you pick Gragson and he does well.
I mean, golly, man, I've won 5 races in a row, and I just feel like I've only gained like 2 points. So
yeah, well, it's still 27-24 to 27-92.
So I'm not that far off,
no.
But it's my 3 weekend opportunities are coming to a close here. So
well, I have not prepared in advance for these picks, so I'm doing it on the fly, which means that will give you a significant advantage this week.
I hope so. I need it.
So you get to pick first, James. Who are you going with for the Truck Series?
Well, I was going to take Mr. Austin Hill, but I don't think he's going to have a very good starting spot. So I went with Sheldon Creed.
Austin Hill just hasn't been good lately either.
I know. So Sheldon Creed for me.
All right.
Solid. Just going to go with a solid choice here. Try to max out my points.
James is going Sheldon Creed. All right. I am going to go. Let's see here.
Fire with fire?
Hell. I'm just going to go with momentum, and I'm going to say Chandler Smith.
Ooh. We haven't had him picked in a long time.
Yeah. What the hell?
I like it. Okay.
I wouldn't be making that move. I'd be going John Hunter if it wasn't for the fact that I still have an okay lead.
Yes, that's true. You get to play around. When you got a big lead, you get to play around a little bit.
Yeah, I want it to be close anyway. Not that I'm giving it to you by any means. I'm not giving it to you, but I want it to be close. So, all right. NASCAR Xfinity Series is Alsco Uniforms 302. Who do you got in this one, James?
I'll take Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs.
And that 54.
What a cop out.
That 54 Supra.
What a cop out.
I didn't take AJ.
Need to go and look. So I can't pick Harrison Burton. Let's see. I'm even less prepared for this one in the Truck Series. So
your boy Noah Gregson's available.
Yeah, I don't know about Gregson. Still don't trust him.
Cindric.
Let's see. Whoops. This is terrible. Such great audio here, guys.
A great audio medium we have here.
Yeah. Give me AJ Allmendinger. I'll take him.
AJ Allmendinger.
I'll take him because then that gives me a week off at Talladega and I can pick him again for the road course.
That's true.
All right. South Point 400 NASCAR Cup Series is on Sunday. Who do you got for this one?
I almost thought about taking Truex, but I will take Mr. Larson.
You're the worst.
I hope he lights the world on fire and takes the win.
Oh, let me look here. I am going to go with my gut, which is probably a huge mistake, James, because it's a Ford driver.
Ooh, you gonna go with Mr. YRB?
I am going with YRB. I got to go with Blaney. I don't know. I just like him here. It's like I said, it's probably a mistake, but I'm going with
Ryan Blaney has not been picked in our picks pool. I'm looking at it right now since I picked him at Richmond 1. Neither of us have picked Ryan Blaney.
That's interesting.
Terrible. This is terrible.
Joey Logano's at the top of the list, by the way, as far as average finish. He's also got 2 wins here.
I'd also like to thank you for giving me Ryan Blaney for Talladega.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Damn it. Yeah. It's all right. You get to pick first anyway. You probably take him anyway.
Probably going to pick first. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right. There's our picks for Las Vegas this weekend. James, how do we do on Fantasy League?
Fantasy League was a little bit messy with all those drivers dropping out.
How many people? I wonder how many people had Kyle Busch on their roster.
I think everybody, because we were all in the 230s and 220s, and then Kyle Busch dropped out. So Justin 713 gets the win with 206. Hot Rod Todd in second, and Jay Wint was third. Quick check of just the playoff breakdown. Team Draft Tonus coming on strong. Bird 8U and Justin 713. Top 3 there. Overall standings, Ranger picked up 4 more points on me. He's about 119 ahead. So I am in second, and Freight Train is in third. There you go.
There you go.
Fantasy League update. It was a little messy.
Yeah. I actually made picks this week, so
good for you.
Didn't forget.
You didn't come up. But yes, congratulations on making your picks.
Shows how pointless it is to make those picks.
That's funny.
All right, time for shout outs. My shout out this week is Jordan Bianchi with The Athletic.
Yeah,
we give a lot of praise to Jeff Gluck and the work he does, but Jordan Bianchi this week got some publicity thanks to the NBC cameras that captured him recording Harvick and Chase's confrontation. Harvick confronting Bianchi, and Bianchi immediately putting his phone back up and recording again. Caught some grief on social media as a result of it because people were upset that he wasn't being a responsible journalist. And as a journalist myself, I will say Jordan Bianchi was doing exactly what you're trained to do as a journalist. Mm-hmm. Big props to him for not backing down and continuing to do what he was supposed to do. If the drivers don't want to be recorded, hey, guess what? Do what you did and go in a hauler.
That's right. You're in a public spot. You are a public figure.
Exactly. So yeah, good on Jordan Bianchi. Bummer that he is not enjoying the limelight quite as much as his coworker Jeff Gluck does when he
Jeff loves it. Oh God, Jeff was as giddy and happy as I've ever heard him on that podcast.
I was so excited to listen to that podcast because I couldn't wait to hear what Jordan was going to say, and then Jordan was so shy about it and didn't want to talk about it. Even Door Bumper Clear tried to get him on, and he refused to go on because he didn't want to be a part of the story. And mad props to Bianchi in the world of journalism right now, where it's all about building a brand. All about, being a part of the story or whatever, especially in sports, to get people to follow you, to just be a hard-nosed journalist that doesn't want the limelight for being involved in something, sort of, even if it wasn't his choosing. Got to give him credit for that, for being a good guy. And I like Jordan. He's a good reporter. Does a good job at The Athletic. And just another reason to subscribe to The Athletic if you don't.
And he broke the news on the schedule last week. He had a big week.
Yes, he did. He
had the schedule a day early.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes. So good job, Jordan.
Yep. Hell yeah.
What do you got, James? Got a shout out?
My shout out's kind of a recommendation.
Okay.
This morning at like 4 a.m. I finished the Schumacher documentary on Netflix. It's worth your time. I think, if you want to learn a little bit more about the probably the greatest race car driver of our generation, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. F1's a little tricky when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But Michael Schumacher
he's up there, that's for sure.
7-time world champion in F1. I mean, I remember Michael Schumacher, and I wasn't watching very much F1 back then, but I remembered him. You can tell the family had some say in how it went. But Eric, the thing that I can't get over with Michael Schumacher, since he had his injuries, his skiing accident, he has never appeared in public since. That would be like, that would be like if Jimmy Johnson this year disappeared after his last year. He competed one last year in F1 and then had a skiing accident and was in a coma and has not been seen in public since. 2013. It's been since 2013.
Wow.
And he does not appear in this documentary either. It's his family. And that's it, but it gives you a little bit of insight on him and goes into some of his controversies, which is kind of interesting. But there's some stuff that kind of gets left out too, which I feel like might have been missed. Might have not been missed if it was a third party doing it, but still good, very good if you like that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yep.
I like it. Cool. Jackass Corner. You got a Jackass Corner, James?
Yeah, who's the guy who was standing in front of Jordan Bianchi?
The fan, the t-shirt, the blue t-shirt.
Yeah, the fan who had nothing to do with the drivers.
Nobody knows. Apparently, they tried to find out for door bumper clear. They couldn't find him.
I know who he is. He's a jackass.
Yeah, he's a jackass. I agree with you. Is that it? That's yours?
That's mine. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with you on this a little bit. I actually have two, and they both revolve around the same incident. So first of all, in addition to, let me put it in the notes, blue t-shirt guy. I am also going to add Josh Jones to the mix, who is KHI management. He was the other gentleman there with Harvick and part of his entourage that told Brett Griffin from Door Bumper Clear that he was just there to de-escalate the situation. Although during the discussion, you can clearly see him laughing at things that Chase was saying, which you normally do when you try to de-escalate a situation. It always feels like Mr. Jones is in the middle of Harvick's stuff. He was actually happened to be right there when Harvick put the fist to the chest of Jimmy Johnson back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Yep. So Mr. Jones likes to put his nose where it doesn't belong. And so he's one of my jackasses this week. And my other jackass, there's a lot of them, a few thousand of them. And that's the fans booing Kevin Harvick and cheering Chase Elliott after this finish. Great for the fans to get involved. But come on, man. You're booing this guy. This is exactly what you guys want to see. Come on. Let's stop playing the favorites with Chase and cheer and boo where it's necessary. I just want to call it Chase Elliott's fans.
I thought you were going to say some photographer this week, but I'll let that go.
No.
Not worth it?
No. So there you go. That's
good work, Eric.
Yeah. So with that, James, we're going to Las Vegas. We're not going to Las Vegas this weekend, but NASCAR
I would like to go to Las Vegas sometime, yes.
Yeah, it would be fun. I wouldn't mind going to this race, actually. It'd be a good one. If people want to talk to you during the week, tweet at you, how can they do that?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. I just momentarily panicked. I'm like, did I hit record before we started doing this podcast?
Oh, no.
I did. Thank God.
Oh, God. Don't do that to me, man.
I about had a heart attack.
That's not a funny joke.
That's why I actually had to stop and acknowledge it, because I about had a heart attack. That would have been so bad.
It's the worst joke you play on me all the time.
It's not ever a joke. It's a fear of mine that it's going to happen someday. Yeah. Anyway, wherever I left off, facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to articles that we discussed, past race coverage, all that stuff is there. TheSuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen, and thank you to everybody who does already. We go to Las Vegas this weekend. We'll be back next week to break it all down, all three series in action, culminating with the South Point 400 to kick off the round of 12 in the NASCAR Cup Series. We'll be back next week to talk about it all. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.